Hello everyone. Constitutional experiment during the rule of the East India Company 1773 to 1857. The constitutional experiment during the rule of the East India Company 1773 to 1857 marked a significant period in the history of India. This era witnessed the introduction of various acts and regulations that laid the foundation for the Indian Constitution. Regulating Act 1773. The Regulating Act of 1773 was the first attempt by the British Parliament to regulate the affairs of the East India Company. The main provisions of this act included centralization of the company's territories in India. The Governor of Bengal was appointed as the Governor General for all British territories in India. A council of 4 members was appointed for Bengal with the Governor General at its head. The Court of Directors, comprising of 24 members, was to be elected for 4 years, with one-fourth of the members retiring every year. The presidencies of Bombay, now Maharashtra, and Madras, now Tamil Nadu, were subordinated to the Bengal presidency. A Supreme Court was to be set up at Calcutta. Companies' servants were prohibited from accepting bribes or engaging in private trade. Pitt's India Act 1784. The Pitt's India Act of 1784 transferred the Indian affairs of the company into the hands of the British government. The major provisions of this act included a court of directors comprising 24 members was established to oversee commercial functions. A board of control consisting of 6 parliamentary commissioners were formed to control the civil, military, and revenue affairs of India. The court of directors was required to comply with the orders and directions of the board. The strength of the Governor General's Council was reduced to 3. Control of the Governor General in Council on Bombay and Madras Presidency was enlarged and made effective. Charter Act 1793. The Charter Act of 1793 extended the company's monopoly of trade for 20 more years. The major provisions of this act included expenses and salaries of the Board of Control were to be charged on Indian revenue. The Governor General could override his council. Charter Act 1813. The Charter Act of 1813 deprived the company of its trade monopoly in India except in tea and opium trade with China. Charter Act 1833. The Charter Act of 1833 was passed in the British Parliament, which renewed the East India Company's charter for another 20 years. This act marked a significant shift in the company's role from a commercial body to an administrative body for British Indian possessions. The major provisions of this act included the Governor General of Bengal was re-designated as the Governor General of India. The Governor General had legislative powers over entire British India. The Governor General's Council was to have 4 members. The Act provided for the Presidency of Bengal to be divided into presidencies of Agra and Fort William. This was the first act that gave permission for Indians to have a share in the country's administration. Charter Act 1853. The Charter Act of 1853 renewed the powers of the company, allowed it to retain territories and revenues of Indian territories in the trust of the Crown for an unspecified period. The major provisions of this act included the executive and legislative branches of the Governor General Council were separated. The Governor General of Bengal was made the Governor General of India, which led to the centralization of administration. The Governor General of Bengal was elevated to position of Governor General of India with exclusive legislative powers. The number of board directors was reduced from 24 to 18, out of which 6 people were to be nominated by the British Crown. These acts and regulations introduced during the rule of East India Company were significant in shaping the administrative and political system of India. However, they did not satisfy Indian aspirations as they were imposed by alien rulers. The evolution of the Indian constitution can be studied in 2 phases: the company ruled between 1773 and 1858, and the crown ruled between 1858 and 1947. The constitutional experiments during the rule of the East India Company laid the groundwork for the development of the Indian Constitution. Thank you. Bye.